Welcome back, everyone. Gaijin Gamer here. Today we're diving into Rockman X, known in North America as Megaman X, looking at the original Japanese text and breaking it down piece by piece to see how the language works and how it compares to the English localization. I'll remind you, I'm not a hotshot speedrunner. I had about 6.5 hours of gameplay footage that I've edited down to a fairly clean playthrough, so you'll see the occasional spot where I've edited out failures and flailing wandering to make a nice concise run. If you're new to the channel, here's a quick version of how these videos work. Whenever we encounter Japanese text on screen, I'll provide a step-by-step translation. First, we rewrite the text in standard Japanese with the proper mix of kanji and katakana. The game does not use kanji, so the native lines are easier to read for children and learners, but might be a little more prone to ambiguity when faced with multiple possible homonyms. Then we look at the romaji so you can see how it's pronounced. After that, we break the sentence down word by word to understand the vocabulary, particles, and grammar. Finally, we compare that literal meaning with the natural English translation. It's been helping me learn much more effectively because games repeat key words and structures, and the particles in particular feel more natural and intuitive through repetitive use. So now let's talk a little bit about Megaman X2 itself. Megaman X series was created as a departure from the original Mega Man games on the NES. Those classic titles involved mostly gameplay and had a fairly simple story involving Dr. Light, Dr. Wily, and a rotating cast of robot masters. When Capcom moved to the Super Nintendo in the early 1990s, they wanted to evolve the series into something a little more mature and introduced some of what is now called Metroidvania-style elements that reward exploration and revisiting completed levels. The X games take place roughly 100 years later in a world where advanced robots called Reploids live alongside humans. But unlike the earlier robots, Reploids have a degree of independence and free will. When one of them goes rogue, they're classified as Maverick, and it's the job of the Maverick Hunters to stop them. That's where our main characters, X and Zero, come in. Megaman X2 picks up shortly after the events of the first game, at the end of which Megaman X, Zero sacrifices himself during the battle against Sigma. In X2, a group of hunters called the X-Hunters appears and claims they've recovered Zero parts. They challenge X to defeat them if he wants any chance of restoring his partner. Gameplay-wise, X2 builds on everything that was introduced in the first X game. The fast movement, wall climbing, upgraded hunting all returns, but the game introduces a few important additions, most notably the air dash, which dramatically expands how you can move through levels. Like the first game, there are hidden armor upgrades, secret items, hidden paths that you can eventually get a radar to find. Alright, let's jump in, get some Mavericks to take out, and capsules to find. That guy we just passed that was closing the walls on me, we'll be seeing him again. Quite a nightmare. But this is just the intro level, as every Mega Man and Mega Man X game has. It's a pretty short little snippet that we don't really have any big secrets to find or anything to do. Oop. But we do have a boss. So let's start taking out this guy. It's Mr. Big. Still get to charge up my X gun. It's got 3 levels of charge, at least for now. I think that might be one of the upgrades that didn't carry over from Mega Man X. But as you can see, pretty simple boss. He went down, despite his big size, fairly easily. The trick is just shooting him in the head. Common for many of the enemies in this game. For some reason, the head's just rarely armored. And now we have a cutscene. We see the shadows of the X-Hunters watching X through their little computer orb, discussing what should happen next. Sounds like we have a mixture of arrogance and cautious concern. Some urgency to defeat him because they know he's going to power up as they move forward. But at the same time, why not just let the underlings take care of it? Underlings being the Mavericks. And here's a subtle little clue, the Reploid that they're talking about. As I mentioned in the intro, they have the Zero parts, so they're trying to reproduce Zero on their side as a foe to battle against X. He's known as a very powerful robot. Here's the password, just in case you wanted to come back and have the beginning of the game without that intro level. Now we have the array of all 8 Maverick levels that we can take on. As with every Mega Man, there's sort of an order to them. You have to take out one on just using your natural X-Buster, and then from there, every one of them has a weakness to somebody else's big weapon. So whichever one you start with, that's going to set off the chain of events for who's weak to what. So I'm going to take out the ostrich first. This is sort of a Speedway-themed level. That little dirt stuff on the side there, you need an upgrade to be able to bust through that. So no need to try to go there right now. And I get to ride this fun little bike that'll just sail right over the spikes. Super convenient. There's a little path off to the left there as well, but another spot that doesn't really have anything for me to do right now, so we'll just carry on. Nice to take out that. Doesn't really hurt anything, but it sure makes the air a little cleaner. Now with the bike I can do little super speeds to get a bit of a turbo jump. But it failed there. And I need the bike a little longer, so I'm going to go back and get it. Fortunately, if you blow up the bike, you can just go back, pick it up again. Bit of a long way back, but them's the brakes. Let's take another stab at that. At least I knocked down that thing that blew me up before. There we go. One more jump. There we go. Oop. And too hard. It's almost impossible to not hit that last wall of spikes. At least I'm not good enough or patient enough to make that work, so I just put up with dying. I get to keep the heart container upgrade that I got, so I'll just call that good and keep moving forward. You might have noticed it added a couple little bars to my life bar. See on the side, there's another little thing there, but again, need an upgrade to get in. I will have to come back for that later. And here we have the gate into the boss room, so it's not the longest level. It does have a bit of an unusual start though. Instead of just running into him directly, I get on this rocket that I apparently need to blow up. Who wants to go to outer space? Just trying to go to the desert. And here we go. There is Mr. Ostrich. So his pattern's fairly simple. He just kind of runs at me, then he hops at me, and then he goes back in the background and tries to jump on me. Always a good chance to land a hit. Oop. It's nice when I'm down below, he tends to just jump right over me. Ooh, and then there's that attack as well. Not great at dodging it. Usually if I just move over a tiny little bit after he sort of pauses, but it's a little tricky. At least it's not extremely damaging. And he's down. So now I can get that little upgrade that he was just shooting me with and use it on the next Maverick. Yeah. Sonic Slicer. Another password now that has memorialized that heart container and the destruction of Sonic Ostrich. So now we need to go to the next guy. Our wire Hitimarl happens to be weak to the Sonic Slicer. So let's go and pay him a visit. But first, let's get this hidden little gem. Another heart container. Added a couple more bars to my life bar. This one has these little weather control orbs that make it go from sunshine to rain. Depending on the weather patterns, different types of enemies are going to do different types of things. Those little frogs don't do well in the sun, but they like the rain. When it's raining, it's sort of pushing me around a little bit. Being a bit of a spaz here because I need to get over there. One up. But don't need that right now. I want this. And now up the elevator. Some little annoying screwdrivers are jumping at me. And of course, there's always the spikes at the top of the elevator. So you never want to linger on that too long. Definitely need to make good use of my dash jumps through some of these longer stretches. Now they're back inside, safe from all these weather controls. Big into these scorpion things in this game. Being generous with the capsules, though. And again, here we are at the boss door. Gonna use that Sonic Slicer. Nice thing about this weapon is that it does bounce around a fair bit, so even if I miss, there's a good chance it'll connect down the road. In this particular case, though, oop, he's mad now. For whatever reason, when he's mad, it doesn't connect very well. There we go. Guess I could just keep jumping into his attack. That seems to be working well for me. Oh, and he's about to zap me with those lightning walls again. Alright, he's been sliced. Two bosses down. And I'll just take his little strike chain. Can be useful to grab onto walls and pull myself forward if I need to extend things a little bit. And now we're back to the X-Hunters. They're not happy with my progress. I've taken out 2 of their subordinates already. Doesn't sound like it's working out so well. But now they're remembering, oh yeah, I did defeat their boss. Maybe I'm to be taken seriously. The Mavericks are no longer adequate. They're going to have to come and get involved. Doesn't mean I don't have to beat up all the Mavericks, though. Just another little wrinkle. So this is definitely an area where the game can diverge a bit. The X-Hunters are actually kind of optional bosses. I have to find them, defeat them, get the X parts. If I go to the final levels before I do that, then I will fail to resurrect Zero. And I believe they will resurrect him instead, and that would be bad. I don't think it ends the game. You can still do it, but I'm going to do it proper. I'm going to get them all. So here comes the gauntlet. Of course, alone. Anticipation. Apparently Dr. Kane has the control parts, which is what the X-Hunters had just been discussing in the prior cutscene as needing to build. So I can rebuild Zero faster than they can. I think that'll be useful, so let's do it. Alright, another password. Who is next? I believe it is the alligator, who does not care for strike chain. Wheel alligates. We always have to theme all our bosses on animals. Incidentally, this here is my favorite place to refill energy tanks, because that thing has a crazy rate of dropping the big ones, so you can just kind of go back and forth, destroy that with a supercharge, back and forth, and you can actually refill those energy tanks quite fast, because they do take a fair bit to fill up. But when you get into those final levels, the energy tanks are very useful. Always gotta love this guy. That did some damage. I'm glad they brought that back for Megaman X, though, because they're kind of fun. It's like in Final Fantasy VI, riding your Magitech armor, May have noticed the heart container off to the left there. I am not quite able to get it just yet. It would be certain death to even try. So I'll have to come back for it. Oh. This is actually a X-Hunter room. And the X-Hunter is not here right now, so I'll have to find them elsewhere or come back for it later. But once you actually beat the Maverick, the X-Hunter won't come back. So you kind of have to make sure you don't defeat all the Mavericks until you've gotten the X-Hunters down. But it also makes sense to power as much as possible before going after them, so I'll do that. Ooh, I like that. Here's the other side of the X-Hunter room, so nothing more to do with that. You might have noticed a little bit of a change in my health and equipment there. That is because I did not succeed on my first try. But no matter. This guy's a little tedious because you kind of keep having to wait for him to come up from underneath this oil. So he likes to throw these saw blades at me. And then he grabs me and eats me if I fail there. Whoa, we're halfway there. Whoa, living on a prayer. Well, that was annoying. Didn't even let me hit him that time. Take that, you wascally walligator. Slowly but surely. Maybe a little more slowly than surely. Didn't like that little torpedo thing he was starting to do there. Alright, one more hit and he is done. Bam! So this little upgrade, the spin wheel, is actually one of my favorites. It does quite a few things, and it massacres a lot of those enemies that are a little bit tougher, like those scorpions and those big standing robots that shoot up and down. It also likes to bounce off walls, so it can take out some of those wall guys on the narrow passages. But now I actually can go back and get some things that I had not gotten yet, because I have access to some areas I did not have before. So this one to the right is actually just the X-Hunter room, and I don't plan to deal with an X-Hunter just yet. And since I've already taken out the Maverick here, the X-Hunter will never show up here anyway, so not useful. And since I don't need to go get that heart container again, I'm just going to allow that to happen. Need more scorpions! Now that, on the other hand, is an area I do wish to deal with. And lo and behold, it is a capsule! And we have the ghost of Dr. Light. Ooh, powering up my jumping ability. Mid-air dash. That's actually a really key one. As I mentioned earlier, that is a pretty significant upgrade from Megaman X. If you ever watch my playthrough of Megaman X, you'll see that's actually where you get the original dash and all that. So it did let you keep quite a good number of the upgrades that we got in Megaman X, except for the weapon power-up and some of the armor things. You never know, I guess, in life, because maybe just all the enemies are more tough here or something. So they do a good job where you're not just finding the same upgrades each game. And each game builds on the previous one. Alright, so here's the boss room again. I've already beaten him though, so basically if you return to a defeated boss, as is typical, it just says, oh, nothing more to do here, and you leave the level. I also have the option of just leaving the level from the menu, but I guess I chose not to do that. So now, there's the password memorializing my mid-air dash. Now here's a boss that does not care for the spin wheel. So here's next, Mr. Bubbly Kraulos. He sounds kind of fun, doesn't he? Not lethal at all. Megaman X. Those bats were actually very nice for upgrades, because refilling health and everything, but they're very cheap in this one. I wanted that. Gotta get used to practicing with that mid-air dash now. If I'd come here any earlier, I would not have been able to get in there. It's a very good thing that X is not a particularly rust-prone robot. This thing has so many pieces. I've never actually been bothered to kill the whole thing. Every piece I take out is one less weapon it's thrown at me. But now here is another little secret. And it's not easy to do, because you gotta time everything just right to something you can't even see. But there we go, a couple more health to my bar. These things are actually starting to add up pretty well. Don't want to be down here. Draining all the water. So now I get a little inside section. And there goes the boss room. Alright, Mr. Bubbly Crabros. The little saw blade cuts right through that little protective bubble of yours. Despite all this, he's doing some damage to me, though. I do like it when he decides to jump on the blade. Those little crabs in the bubbles seem kind of annoying. Oop. But now they're no longer relevant. Ha ha ha. So this bubble thing doesn't look that impressive, but when we get it powered up, it actually is pretty cool. Because its powered up form creates this like basically permanent armor around me, where anything that touches me just dies. And there's a particular boss that really doesn't do well against that. So you notice on the map, those X-Hunters keep showing up. Might be time to consider taking one down, because I do not want to run out of levels. So this is a pretty evil little level. Mr. Flames Dagger. First of all, this helicopter is quite mean. Just keeps trying to ram me. But it's useful in its own way too. But when I get on it, it's like looking for me. Where'd he go? Where'd he go? I don't... But he was nice enough to take me up here to get this. Haha! Energy tanks are awesome. Guess he could have helped me get that too, but oh well. So there's a high road and a low road. And this is where they come together. And we have this particularly sucky lava come and get me. And particularly I need it to get that. And unfortunately, I am not good enough to get that without that happening, but at the same time, I got it. So my health bar has been increased. I don't have to worry about getting it again. So now I can focus on just making it through. So here's what the low road looks like. And again, come back together. Now I just have to make it up this thing before the lava gets me. It's much easier when I'm not worried about getting a heart container. Whoops. We'll just hang out in the lava a bit, that's okay. Oops. There he goes. It is possible to jump over that, but it is always difficult. Easier just to do this. I'm gonna go in there. All right. Sarges. Can I defeat him? He's a bit of a nuisance with his little acrobatics. Trick is I just gotta make sure I'm hitting him every time he hits me. The landmines are super annoying. Just in case. A little closer comfort. Oh, perhaps you should. You're no match for me. I have a whole nother sub-tank left there. Alright, Zero's head. Sounds useful. He don't work so well without that. Uh-oh. Got these things shooting all this gas out that these guys keep lighting on fire. That's not helpful. Don't like you. Okay. What other diabolical things do you have in store? Yes, the boss. Okay. And here we are, Mr. Flame Stag. Mr. Flame Stag does not care for bubbles. His pattern isn't particularly crazy right now. Sorry, man, but you are not needed anymore. And never hurts to have a flamethrower. This is actually one of the weapons that has a ability that I'm going to use a fair bit. Not even to attack so much, but the rushing burner can actually extend my air dash by launching me forward. And that can come in pretty handy. But first, let us take advantage of that. You might remember a heart container here that I was like, yeah, not quite yet. Well, it's yet now. This is a little bit of a tricky spot. Oh, almost. I need to get up there. There we go. Another capsule for me. Hyru. Get in. Perfect. So this is the upgrade that seemed to have gone away, but now I can add a 4th charge to my weapon, which gives me a double shot. That's pretty intense. And I can actually charge up all the other abilities I have too. Without that, I wouldn't be able to take advantage of some of the special abilities like that bubble shield and my double air dash and all those kind of things. Boom! Just like that. I thought in the original Mega Man X got that a little later than I would have liked. But lots of times to use it here. Alright, now that heart container, you'll have noticed a little jump there. That's because this is actually kind of deadly and hard to do. So, now that I've achieved that, got those little bit of extra life. Oh, well, that's one way to do it. Anyway, there's the password. And back to the main areas. Another little upgrade I can get in here. Couldn't get it through the first time because I needed my bubbles. Fishboat again! Whatever, should have just let loose one of my wheels on top of it. Might have bothered it some. Don't love that laser, to be honest. So now that that's no longer an issue. Let's charge you up. Now you'll notice I've got the little bubble shield, and now those guys just die. So I'll admit, I don't fully understand the mechanics of what's happening here, but the bubble shield will allow me to do this kind of weird little skim on the surface thing. Sometimes. But anyway, there's my third energy tank. You'll notice that the bubble shield just continues until it runs out of energy. But that said, let us move on. Here's the password. So my energy tank has now been secured, along with all those other upgrades. Centers have moved around a little more. This guy does not care for being burnt up. So my little flamethrower weapon should be quite helpful on Metamor Mothamos. Now we're in the junkyard. These little hanging robots that don't look so good are actually kind of a nuisance. If you blow up just their body, then the heads are going to start shooting at you. If you blow up the little string and let them down, they'll turn into things. So you kind of got to get the heads, or else they're just going to continue to do bad things. You can jump a little higher where this vacuum cleaner is in action, but it doesn't really do much for you. I just think those things are creepy. Another little subtle secret here. See a little dug hole there. Little hint. You can kind of keep going down. Boom! And we got a secret area with another capsule! Hello, Dr. Light again. Get into this capsule. Capsule. Power up body parts. So that's a little generic. Ooh, so this is basically a new attack, and it's actually a pretty crazy one. It's sort of like the Mario Pow Block. Every time somebody shoots me, projectile damage, it sort of powers that up. And when it's full, I can unleash it, and it kind of smacks everything on the screen. Just like that. There's a particular boss that is really, really hard without that. But that'll be for later. Now let's head back up this trench and carry on. These guys are another one. You blow up the head, and they just kind of keep going forever. These shield guys are a little easier in this one than they were in Megaman X, because you can sort of knock their shield flying and then take them out. I like how the one-ups are a little easier to get, too. We have an experimental alien bot. Bah! And it likes to operate this weird robot android thing. Very Krang. So now I have to beat up the robot before I can beat up the little guy. He's kind of wimpy though when you actually get him out of here. Oh, there he goes. Die! If I don't kill him fast enough, he just goes on the ground and makes another one. So that's not a cycle I wanted to repeat. And now we've got little alien bots all over the place. Didn't want to pass up the secret room. This is the X-Hunter room. So let's see what the second guy has to say. Ooh. We have the Ninja Bot. Samurai attack! Ah! Man, that doesn't seem very feasible to dodge. See how you like this. Assuming I can ever actually hit you. Curses. I don't think I was liking how that was working. Let's bubble them. Doesn't seem to really do as much either. Single hit. Maybe a little easier to hit him though. Good lord! Can I outlast him? One more. Okay. Woohoo. I have cornered him! He is shocked. And he departs. Head and legs. What else do you need? Puts it inaccessibly down there. Guess I could have considered going for those energy capsules, but oh well. So much robotic junk. And so many of these little alien things. Uh-oh. Here's another one. Oh, kill it, kill it, kill it! Ah! No! Alright, let's get him for real this time. Oh my gosh. This is what happens when I get spazzy. Seems like he's losing energy each time. Now he's just not even trying to go down anymore. Okay, there we go. Finally. I'll take that. Alright, almost getting filled up. Okay. Boss time. Let's get that flamethrower. Well, maybe I'll give him a hit with the power block first. Since I got it, and it's a freebie. Boom! And it did not do a lot, but I guess every little bit helps. See, he does not care for that. And of course his scrap kind of blocks my shot. It'd be really fast to get around that thing. And now we have his metamorphosis. So let's deal with that, I guess. And he's done! Alright, so in order to not keep this video too long, I'm going to break this here. So remember to like and subscribe if you're enjoying this and feel like there's anything to learn. And part 2 will be coming soon. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon.